county's Crime Prevention Town Hall supports one of Council's key strategic priorities, which is community wellness and safety. They allow residents and businesses to connect directly with those working to keep our community safe. This evening, you're going to hear from County's new General Manager of Community Services, Director of Law Enforcement, RCMP representatives, and other community safety partners. Each presenter will provide valuable information on crime trends, prevention strategies, and available supports, including how to request a security or safety assessment. Following each presentation, as I just mentioned, there will be time for questions. Once all presentations are complete, we invite you to explore the resources we made available, connect one-on-one with our law enforcement guests and county enforcement staff, and learn more about local security services. So we have Apex Security back there, and tools by visiting Apex Security, who are here this evening. We also encourage you to share your thoughts on our engagement boards. So we have some boards back here, and I will hand out stickers to each of you guys. What we're looking for that is to get your feedback on what things that you would like what's a priority to you. So each person is going to get 2 stickers. If you could put 2 stickers on the board based on levels of priority of what's important to you guys based on those. Your feedback is key to helping shape the future of community safety in the county. Okay, so this is a new position, the Community Safety Coordinator. It was approved in 2024, and like I said, it supports Council's priority, which is community wellness and safety. The position is currently vacant. Once the position is filled, you'll see a little bit more about what the position is going to entail. It's part of the County Regional Enforcement Services, so it's under that umbrella. And the objectives is to build stronger community partnerships. We're looking to get involved with the community, have feedback to see what is important to you guys and things that we can do to make it a safer community. And also enhance collaboration with peace officers and RCMP. And it's also to serve as a bridge between residents and enforcement. So I'd like to introduce Kyle Palfy. He is our superintendent with Regional Enforcement Services. So if Kyle, you could come up.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Kyle Palfy. I'm the Director of Regional Enforcement for the County of Grande Prairie's Regional Enforcement Services Department. Lindsay's one of our peace officers. She's actually just filling in the role here tonight because the position's vacant. Right now, our department has peace officers, which do traffic enforcement, weights and measures, et cetera, more for the road safety aspect. And we have our community standards unit as well. They're the people that deal with the unsightly premises. If you're having those neighbors that are causing grief in the community because they're not looking after their property, because they're doing other sort of nefarious things on their property that they don't really care about the neighborhood, the community standards unit is who we engage then. I came to the county last fall, retiring from the RCMP with 27 years of service. I worked in the county and the city of Grande Prairie for almost half of my service at various different ranks. The opportunity to get on board with the county and how they proactively approach things and are working consistently to make change was an opportunity I jumped at, and I'm looking forward to continuing to work with them.
So if there's any questions for Kyle, I can take those at the end of the presentation. Does anyone have any questions for Kyle? Not yet? Okay, wonderful, very good. And next up, I'll introduce Lee Brockman. He is our General Manager of Community Services.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. Thank you all for coming out tonight. I know there's a couple hockey games out, so we'll try to get you wrapped up so you can go watch those. Thanks again for coming to the County Grande Prairie's Crime Prevention Town Hall. This is the 4th in a series that we've been doing over the winter and now into the spring. Just to talk with people, gather their ideas in terms of what can the county do in terms of supporting safe and healthy communities overall within with our partners with the RCMP, our Regional Enforcement Services Department, and things like that. How can we proactively address some of the issues that you're seeing in your areas? So a little bit of background about me. I'm the General Manager of Community Services, so I oversee our 6 departments, including Agriculture Services, FCSS, Library Services, Recreation and Culture, Regional Enforcement Services, Regional Fire Services, as well as I'm one of the Deputy Directors of Emergency Management, coordinating with GPREP. With that, I do come from an enforcement background. I was with the RCMP for 20 years before I retired last fall, similar to Kyle, and came over to the county to take on this role. During my career, I served at various locations throughout Alberta. All my service was in Alberta, which is also where I'm from. Then I came to Grande Prairie a number of years ago, and my last position was as a superintendent officer in charge of the Grande Prairie RCMP Detachment, so overseeing policing in the city and the county of Grande Prairie, as well as the MD Greenview. The opportunity to come over to the county was very appealing to me a number of months ago when this position was open, because now I get to work directly with the community and support community wellness and safety, which is fantastic. I know the county is working on a number of initiatives in terms of enhancing wellness and safety in the county, which is partly why these town halls are being completed, and we're listening and talking to you folks so we can develop some robust programs. I know one of the things that we're doing right now is working to ensure that our crime prevention and crime reduction initiatives that are supported are data-driven, right? So looking at various layers and levels of data, seeing where are things occurring, when are they occurring, and how can we work with our partners in the RCMP with enforcement services to put resources to some of those developing issues. So you'll hear tonight some information on crime stats and a few of those things, and it's tools like that we can use to help deploy resources to the areas of highest need in the county and to try to drive down any rising crime trends we might be seeing. So with that, I'm going to turn this back over to Lindsay and we'll continue on. Oh, yes, any questions? So agriculture services is one of the departments that reports up to me. So that's with the agricultural services board as well. So that department does weed inspections, pest and disease control, wildlife management, mowing, that kind of stuff. Yeah. Any other questions for me? Awesome, thanks.
Thanks, Lee. Okay, introducing Matt Short. He's our RCMP Staff Sergeant of Rural. If we have questions, just let me know and I'll bring the mic over to you just so it can be on the recording. Come on up, Matt. Price is right, come on up. Fail.
Okay, thanks everybody. My name is Matt Short. I'm the Staff Sergeant in charge of Grande Prairie Rural. I've been in this position with the Rural Department as the NCO in charge for just over 4 years, just over 4 years. I started in 2021. Again, I've been with the RCMP now. This is my 20th year with the RCMP. 15 of those have been here in Grande Prairie, both between the city and the county. So I have a pretty good understanding of what's been going on there. We're going to hand that off? That works better. Thanks. Oh, we'll use the buttons to work properly here. We talk about our detachment area. It's very large. We go south down to the Kakwa River. We go north up to the county line here. East, we're out past Crooked Creek in that area. West, not so far, just outside of Wembley is our detachment area there. It's about 14,000 square kilometers is what we police from Grande Prairie Rural. By contrast, the city's got about 75 square kilometers, right? So obviously within those 75 square kilometers, though, they have a lot more population than what we have here, but sometimes it just takes us longer to get to our calls for service. The areas that we include does include Sexsmith, Claremont, Grovedale, Bezanson, TP Creek, DeBolt, Ridge Valley, Crooked Creek. Those are some of the communities that we police, along with a number of subdivisions and areas that are in and around the area. To do that, we have 26 provincially funded police officer positions. 16 of those are general duty, so those are the people that you'll see when you call 911 or have any kind of call for service, you're going to get one of my 16 general duty constables. We have 4, it says 3 up there, we now have 4 road supervisors. So we're now broken into 4 watches so we can provide 24-hour policing to the communities. 1 unit commander, that's me. 5 support members is, we've tailored that a little bit. We do have some support members. It's down from 5 to 3, just so that we can provide some more bodies on the road. That's our general investigation section now. Those positions used to be integrated with the city detachment, but as they're going through their transition, we've pulled those positions into our own operation now, so they are working directly for us, dealing with issues directly related to the county. We do have police dog service available, along with our forensic identification section, real-time operations support, which is based out of Edmonton, which helps members when they're dealing with something in the middle of the night. They get quite a bit of support from there. We also have a containment team, which helps us deal with serious events. If we have to deal with a property that's going to keep us there for several hours, we are able to draw on resources throughout our district to help contain and deal with that property. On the support side, we do have a very good public support side that helps us with our rural issues. That covers our budget and finance exhibits, video, our court services, that's our court liaison, typing, things that help us deal with court. Our client services, basically a lot of our front counter, phone services, criminal record checks, data entry, and anything that we deal with our CPIC. So we're going to talk about just some of our crime trends over the last year. Overall, difference between 2023 and 2024 has been very positive. As you can see, an overall 20% decrease when we're dealing with criminal code offenses. A good decrease when it comes to persons crimes. Property crime is down by 14%. Other criminal code offenses is also down significantly. When we look at specifically at property crime, break-in enters was down 34%. We did see a 4% decrease from previous year when it came to auto theft, along with some of the smaller thefts under $5,000. When we deal with that, kind of just deals with some of our calls for service, just to give a kind of a picture of how we deal with calls and how many we get over a year. Over the last 2 years, we had 13,000 calls for service broken between 2023 and 2024. When we look at where those calls come from, the majority of those calls are coming from the county. So of those 13,000 calls for service, 11,000, a little over 11,000 were from the county. And then we had about 1,500 that come from the MD of Greenview. So the MD of Greenview has a very large geographical footprint, but it's not heavily populated, so our calls for service are quite a bit less. When we look at break and enter trends, just from 2023 to 2024, again, just to kind of give you a snapshot of how they were going, it's again trending all 4 quarters in the right direction there. Theft of vehicles bounced around a little bit. We've had some increases and decreases. I know 2024 we had a few prolific offenders that enjoy stealing cars, so we had a few spikes in those numbers, especially over the summer, as we dealt with some of those. Family violence is always an area that we end up dealing with, unfortunately, quite a lot. Again, positive notes that it's trending in a negative direction and continuing to go down. Mental health is also another issue where we're moving in the right direction, where things are decreasing from 2023 to 2024. The one thing I will say when we talk about the stats is that we don't always want to get too deep into the stats there when you look 1 year to another year. When we look at it over a 5-year trend, we're still trending in the right direction, but those percentages become a little bit more, a little bit smaller, and kind of give us a much better picture of how we're managing these offenses. So to help us get and have some of those successes, we actually have an annual performance plan. This is done together in consultation with the County of Grande Prairie, the MD of Greenview. Town halls like this help us identify what our priorities are and how we want to focus our efforts over the year. They're broken into three different main areas. The first one that we want to engage or work on is community engagement and communication. One of those areas is through school visits, engaging with youth and getting those contacts in when they're in school and in a young age is important to us. Our goal last year for our fiscal year was to complete 80 school visits. We were very successful and completed 116 of those visits last year. School presentations, again, is another area that we want to focus on. We had a target for completing 12 for the year. I know we did presentations. I never got an exact number for how many we did, so we're going to get a better reporting system for that this year so we can actually talk about how many we did. And then community engagement or community-led cultural training was an initiative that was in there for the members themselves. In dealing with a wide range of people, we have a number of different community groups, ethnicities, special needs. It helps us if we can police better by understanding what those community groups are, ethnic groups, and how we can interact with them maybe in a more positive way. So that was one of our goals, is to get those done. We were able to complete some of that training. Areas that we focused on were autism, some mental health issues. There was an ethnic group that came in as well that helped us there. The next area that we wanted to focus on is crime reduction, right? That's kind of what everybody's very interested in, seeing those crime statistics go down. One of the main ways we do that is by acknowledging, first of all, that a lot of the crime is done by repeat offenders. So for us to help reduce crime, we want to hold those offenders accountable for whatever they're doing, and if they're on conditions, we want to make sure that they are abiding by those release conditions, and if they're not, then we want to hold them accountable. We'll put them back in jail or before a justice of the peace so that they can deal with that. So our goal again last year was 100. 280 were done. A couple things lead to that. One, we got a lot more people that are in our area right now that are on conditions, which is good, so we want to be out there checking on them and making sure that we hold them together. Joint enforcement initiatives is something that came up over the last few years in working with the county and recognizing that we weren't working very well together, and in order to help the communities that we serve, it was important to work together more. So that moved on to our annual performance plan. The target was to do one a month, right? We did 60 last year. So we've partnered up quite a lot more, and that's not just with the county of Grande Prairie. We've partnered up more with conservation officers, Fish and Wildlife, a number of different things to help us kind of work better with some of our other policing partners in the area. And the last area that we wanted to focus on was enhanced service delivery. This covered a couple of areas. One is investigational integrity. So when we're talking about that, what we're really talking about is getting back to our complainants, is really the focus there. In that integrity of getting back, people call 911, and one of the feedbacks that we were getting quite often is, I call and then it disappears into the void, and I have no idea what happened to it. So we want people to know, yes, we received your call. We may not always be able to solve a crime, but we want to acknowledge that we received it. We're going to be in the area, we're going to patrol, whatever those requirements are. So our target was 75%, and the questions come up quite often of why isn't it 100%? And that 75% takes into account self-generated work that's done by the members. So the target has been realized, and we were able to complete 76% last year, and then what we're looking to do this next year will be try and break that down a little bit better so people have an understanding of what self-generated work we're doing, and then what work is being generated by complainants, and then we're circling back to close that door. Community safety patrols is the other area, and that really has to do with feedback where people are saying we don't see you in our areas. We want to see more police officers out there. At least we know that they're in our area, helping to keep everybody safe. So our patrols last year were about 4,300 for Claremont, 1,500 for Sexsmith. Grovedale was about 600. And that's gone up. I think the year before they were just about 3,500s for Claremont in those areas. So we're getting out more, and I think that has a direct relation to some of the better crime trends that we're seeing. Rural detachment, one of the other last ones under enhanced service delivery was to relocate our rural detachment, obviously with the policing transition going on in the city, the provincial assets that were working in that downtown detachment need a new home. So that's going to belong to the Grande Prairie Police Service. So one of our goals over the last year has been to identify and then relocate into a new space specific for Grande Prairie Rural. We completed that earlier this year at the end of February. We relocated. We're now sharing office space with our district area. So we were on the ground floor at our new space on West Side Drive, kind of beside or in the area where the Bank of Montreal is and the TD Bank off of Highway 40 there. It does offer anything for the community if you have a collision that you want to report, criminal record check, fingerprints, any of those things that you would have gone downtown for now. Don't have to go there. You can come see us at our new location. We'll be able to provide those services, minus some of the fees that the city charges. So just some things in there as well. Community engagement. So this year, for our, again, moving into our new year, we just started. Our fiscal year runs April 1st to March 31st, so we're just starting our new performance plan for this year. Again, we're going to stay in the three kind of areas that are giving us some success: community engagement, crime reduction, and then service delivery. So again, our school visits and presentations, recognizing that what we did last year and the success we did, we've upped our base from 80 to 100, so we want to look for at least 100 school visits this year. Town halls is another area we want to focus on, both within the county and within the Grovedale area, or the MD side of it, as well, just to get that feedback and a better sense of what community needs might be out there. Crime reduction, again, curfew checks, another area. We had that success that we had last year, so again, we've increased that baseline that we're looking to meet there. Same with the joint initiatives. Instead of one a month, we've increased that as well. A curfew check is just, again, keeping them accountable. A lot of those that are evildoers or on crime or have conditions, have been charged with an offense, have conditions, and those will include a curfew. So they have to be in their residence typically between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. So we'll come knock on their door at some time in the night to see if they're there. Mail theft projects is another one that we want to focus on. That's an area we know, especially out in this area, I think has been hit very hard by some of those mailbox thefts. So recognizing that and hearing that from the communities, that's something we want to target. So we're at on our annual performance plan to at least have a couple of, a minimum of 2 of those special projects really geared around trying to identify and locate those people that are doing it. Service delivery, we talked about a little bit before there, so it's getting back to our complainants and breaking that down a little bit so that we can give a better number of the number of people that are actually calling us and we're replying to, keeping those community patrols at a real high level that we have. And then some feedback that we've already had was around traffic safety. So just some increased and improved performance and tracking when it comes to traffic enforcement out in the community. The Grande Prairie City transition. We get lots of questions on the rural side about how the city transition will affect policing in the rural areas. The simple answer to that is it won't. Even prior to the transition taking place, there was broken into the 2 categories of provincially funded RCMP and then the municipally funded positions. Those provincial positions are still there, and as we progress with that now, we're actually getting more and more away from the city detachment and doing strictly a rural plan and stuff like that. So there's no decrease in service overall. And then we'll be able to go and continue on from there. The follow-up question to that is, will there be a Grande Prairie detachment or Grande Prairie rural detachment? The answer is probably. Yeah, it's being worked on right now. It's a long process, a long, slow process. So it's probably a few years away still before we get our own building, but it is coming. We're gonna play pass.
Did you lose any officers because of the new Grande Prairie police detachment?
No, we didn't lose any members from the change.
Did you guys find a lot of the RCMP from Grande Prairie moved into the city police?
Yeah, the city policing and their hiring process isn't something, obviously, that we're involved in. There's been some members have transitioned. Nobody out of the rural detachment has gone over to the city police service. Those that have tend to be some of the more senior in service that have an opportunity to use some retirement benefits and things like that to help them. So, so far so good from on that standpoint, right? And we're actually, I think from a rural standpoint, we'll be very well positioned as those that are members, RCMP members working within the city, have commitments that want to keep them in this community, then they'll be able to transition into the rural detachment before that. So it probably at the end of the day will give me a benefit from a staffing perspective in making sure that we have our vacancies taken care of. Any questions? Anyone else?
What happens to the Grande Prairie RCMP? I'm sorry. What happens to the Grande Prairie RCMP when the city takes over? Nobody's ever gave me an answer. I've asked many people.
Well, there's two detachments, right? The city detachment, the City of Grande Prairie detachment will basically no longer exist, right? It will be the Grande Prairie Police Service providing that policing service to the City of Grande Prairie. Pardon me? Well, that's all of the policing. That'll include bylaw, traffic enforcement, criminal enforcement within the city. On the rural side of it, it'll still be RCMP, and that's where there's no change for us. The Grande Prairie Rural Detachment will exist well after the Grande Prairie Police Service is up and running. Anyone else? Oh, it's all good. I'm coming.
When you talk about mail crime, are you allowed to put up cameras at the mailboxes, at the group boxes?
If a citizen wanted to put a camera up somewhere in there, then there's possibly an opportunity to do that, right? It's, that could be an option. Yeah, when we talk about those projects, right, whatever investigative tools we want to use, right, there's a number of different options that are available for us, and that'll be something that we can take care of. Oh, and the Apex lady has it.
I'll bring the mic and you just stand on the end, okay? Oh, you need, okay.
I can talk loud, really loud. Often communities will get together and they'll hire companies such as Apex to do patrols, and we put cameras up at mailboxes where it's reserved for communities.
Anyone else? Okay.
Yep. Thank you, Matt. Appreciate that. Next up, we have Chris Power. He is Sergeant Commander of Rural Crime Reduction Unit, Western Alberta District.
Good evening, everyone. So yeah, as Lindsay said, my name's Chris Power. I work with the Western District Rural Crime Reduction Unit. You guys are probably like, what is that? And I'll tell you. So back in 2018, the RCMP was hearing concerns from rural residents across the province. You know, there was obviously an increase in rural crime, not just up in this area, but throughout the whole province. And the RCMP went to the government and proposed an idea to create 4 district rural crime reduction units. So one in each of the 4 RCMP districts spread out throughout the province. And one of those units is based here. The Western unit is based in Grande Prairie. So what our units do is provide service to all the detachments in the district. So the Western Alberta District has 24 police detachments, Grande Prairie being one of them. And we work throughout the entire area, all the way down to Drayton Valley, up to High Level, across Highway 16 to Jasper, doing what we call specialized plainclothes targeted enforcement activities. So despite the fact that we have this massive geographic area and we support all these detachments, we have done a lot of work very close to here. In fact, I think last year we did a search warrant around the corner here. You were there? Yeah. So one of the benefits for a detachment like Grande Prairie, for example, is because we are housed here, we obviously can't travel all the time because all of our officers have families and, you know, they can't be on the road living out of hotels all the time. So Grande Prairie Detachment and some of the other ones in the region, like Beaver Lodge and Valley View and Spirit River, tend to see a lot more of our services than the others throughout the district. So what we do is what we call intelligence-led policing. So our officers, there's myself, a corporal, and 6 constables in the unit. And we wear normal clothes, you know, we just look like the everyday person wearing jeans and a hoodie. We drive vehicles that you can't tell are police vehicles. And a lot of our work involves surveillance, collecting extensive amounts of evidence, and then eventually, you know, hopefully if things go well, doing things like search warrants and arresting prolific offenders. So we take the data that's collected from detachments, like Matt mentioned at the Grande Prairie Detachment. They target some of their prolific offenders, so they would put a request in, you know, to a unit like ours. We would have a crime analyst look at that individual, identify information about, you know, what types of crimes they're involved in, who their associates are, and then we would deploy a surveillance team to target them. So some of the things that we do, property crime is a big one. So vehicle thieves, folks that are doing rural break-and-enters to businesses and you know, community members' homes and farms and those types of things. Prolific vehicle thieves is a really big one. Most of you guys probably have heard in the news over the last number of years around here of pursuits. You know, these individuals, they steal vehicles, they drive very recklessly, they flee the marked police cars. So we're able to use some specialized tools to apprehend them a little bit in a more safer manner. And we do a lot of things where we have to get authorizations from the courts. So, you know, we have to basically tell a story to a judge of why we believe somebody has stolen property on their, or stolen goods on their property, convince the judge that we have enough evidence to go and look for it, and then the judge signs a piece of paper and says you guys can go and do a search warrant at that particular location. We do trackers, so prolific offenders, we'll get a judge to give us an authorization to track them, so we use GPS technology, things like that. We work a lot with specialized units within the RCMP, air services. We use aircraft, helicopters, and airplanes to conduct surveillance on people. We have sections in Edmonton that have very advanced technology that we're able to use. We work a lot with our police dog services. And then when we have really dangerous offenders, we often work in conjunction with our emergency response team, which is kind of commonly known as a SWAT team. We did an operation in Sexsmith just last year. It was all over social media. Some of you guys might have heard about that. So when I'm here tonight, I'm not going to go into a lot of stories about the stuff that we do, but I'm happy to have individual conversations with any of you folks afterwards. But the main point I want to get across is we as an organization, as your police service in the province, we're hearing your concerns, and although you may not see the police out there as much as you would like, know that we are out there. You just don't know that we're the police, if that makes sense. So we have times, sometimes where citizens who are on guard in their community, who are a little bit suspicious, they see us, doing our surveillance, and they think that we're the bad guys. And sometimes, folks do know that we're out there, but for the most part, if we're doing our surveillance as covertly as we want to, you don't know that we're there. So I'm happy to take any questions that you might have pertaining to the type of work that we do and the service that we provide your Grande Prairie Rural Detachment and the other detachments in the district. And if you don't have any, we can talk one-on-one afterwards as well. Kurt at the back. You can shout it out and I'll repeat it into the mic. Excellent. Yes.
In our area, we've actually had very good success now. We have group checks, there's about 20 of us. If we see something going on that doesn't look right, first thing we do is phone the police, and they've been really good at following up and then letting us know what's going on. So how important is it for the community members if they see something that doesn't seem right?
For sure. So I'll just repeat that because this is being recorded. So Kurt's question was, how important is community feedback to the work that we do? And that's a great question. So as I mentioned, we do what we call intelligence-led policing, right? So the intelligence is information. And if that information isn't coming in, it's hard for us to act on it. And one of the things that we find is folks are reluctant to call the police because they might see somebody on the road that just, seems a little bit suspicious, but they think, well, it's probably nothing, and I don't want to waste the police's time with this. But I mean, we always encourage you to make that call. And there may be times, policing is very demanding, you have a limited number of officers covering a large area. There may be times where, unfortunately, it does take the police longer than you would like to respond to something like that, but there are other times, and particularly if like a unit like ours is in the area, where a call like that, it could be the vehicle that we've been looking for 2 or 3 days. So always encourage folks to provide tips. If you have information that you want to provide that you're reluctant to involve your own name and you don't want to be involved per se like that, another great option is Crime Stoppers, where you can be completely anonymous. And I'm very well versed in how Crime Stoppers operates behind the scenes, and trust me, it is anonymous, because some people are kind of like, is it really? But it is. And we've had some very, very successful files that originated from a Crime Stoppers tip, which was not very significant, just somebody that said, there's kind of weird stuff, there's vehicles coming in and out of this property at odd hours of the night, it just doesn't seem right. And we initiate an investigation, and it grows into something much, much larger. So when you have a crime in progress, if you see somebody in your yard and they're stealing fuel or something, and it's happening in real time, the proper thing to do is to call 911. That's going to get you your most immediate response. But sometimes, if you go out and realize that, hey, sometime in the last 2 or 3 days, somebody stole my ride-on lawnmower, it's not an urgent response, that's what we would direct somebody to the non-emergency number. And just in the last 2 weeks, the RCMP in Alberta has streamlined the non-emergency reporting process by creating a phone number, which is 310 RCMP. There's some pamphlets over there that have that information there. And anywhere in Alberta, regardless of what detachment area you're in, if you dial that number, you will be connected to the appropriate dispatcher that will get the police dispatched to your call. We also have online crime reporting. I won't go into much. Chad Cronk is going to speak here next, and Chad is with our crime prevention section, and he's got lots of great information on that. So, but yes, reporting, huge one, and we always encourage you, if you're hesitant or should I call or shouldn't I, make the call. Any other questions? All right. If you do have any others, we can have a chat afterwards.
Thanks, Chris. And now we have Chad Cronk with the RCMP Crime Prevention Liaison. And he has his own slide this time.
I was going to have to ask Chris to stop speaking because he was taking up most of my presentation. So my name is Chad Cronk. I'm with the Western Alberta District RCMP, and I'm a crime prevention liaison. So I'm a civilian member. I'm not an RCMP member. But what I do is I assist the RCMP members in terms of doing follow-up with residents that have been victims of property crime. I also do a lot of different presentations to rural crime watch groups and those types of things on specific things like that CPTED, which is one of the topics I'll discuss tonight. So property security and safety assessments available at the county as part of the community safety coordinator's position. So they've asked me to talk a little bit about that with the position being vacant right now. So what is a property security and safety assessment? So Basically what it is it's having a second set of eyes that's trained in property crime, or what we call CPTED, and that individual will come out to your property and give you ideas and suggestions on how to better secure your property. We use a program that's called CPTED, and I'll go into a little bit more of what that is. But primarily what it is it's a second set of eyes to come out and give you some advice in terms of how you can better secure your property, having an understanding of some of the different crimes that are happening in the area, and kind of focusing in on those types of things. So what happens is you set up an initial meeting. So they meet and discuss your security concerns. Then there's a review and assessment where the individual will come out to your property and do a report up for you. And then that report and recommendations get turned back to you in terms of a checklist and some suggestions and ideas. Could be everything from better locks on your doors to cameras to trimming down your trees so there's better sight lines on the property and those types of things. So who completes security safety assessments? I primarily do them for all of the RCMP detachments in the Western Alberta district. So high level down to Jasper, the BC border over to Marythorpe. So as you can imagine, I'm quite busy. But I also do security assessments for the rural detachment as well as the city of Grande Prairie right now. The projection is that when the county regional or enforcement services, the security coordinator position will also be trained in CPTED and be able to come out to your properties and do those assessments as well. So CPTED stands for Crime Prevention Through Environmental Design. And I can go into all of the gists. I could talk for hours on it. I'm very passionate about it. But primarily what it is it looks at the built environment that your house was built on, that your property is in, and we take a look at a number of different aspects of the property and how we can better secure it using a number of different techniques. So there are four strategies that we look at. The first one is access control, and I talk about doors and windows. It could be everything from locks. Do you have deadbolts? Are you using door guards? Do your windows have locks? Are your ground windows, do you have bars on them? Do you have different films on them? Those types of things. The next is what we call territorial reinforcement. And that's a little bit different than access control because that's about defining spaces on your property. So what's the difference between a public space and a private space? And when somebody enters a private space, do they look out of place? Are they noticeable by the property owner or people from around that property owner? So if they're staying in the public spaces, again, they will look like they're supposed to be there. That could be everything from pathways to fences to gates, those types of things. Next, we look at natural surveillance. This can also mean mechanical surveillance in form of cameras, mirrors, those types of things to kind of identify blind spots on the property around hidden corners, alcoves, and those kinds of things. But we also talk about natural surveillance and having clear sight lines throughout your property. So in some cases, you'll see a lot more properties will have trees trimmed up to about 6 feet so that there's no ambush points behind them. You won't put trees and those types of things in front of windows that are going to grow really high in front of those windows so that you can't see out your windows onto your property, but also means that people can hide behind them when they're breaking into those windows, those types of things. And then one of the most important ones is maintenance. Are you leaving tools such as ladders, wooden shovels, handles, things that could be used as break-in tools? Are those accessible on your property? Do all of your lights around your property work? Do your cameras work consistently? If there's a broken mirror or a broken lock, are those things being repaired in a timely fashion? Because they're things that can be easily overlooked, trust me. My wife tells me every day all of the things that I've overlooked in my house. But at the same time, when you're looking from a securities perspective, they're extremely important. So how to request a security assessment from the rural or from the county. There's a QR code here, but you can also go to their website, and it's countyofgp.ca security assessment. And you can request a security assessment. And then that message will go to Kyle. In the interim, I'll probably be getting some of those requests to come out to the properties. And if I can fit them into my schedule, or as I can fit them into my schedule, I will do that. And then when the new community safety coordinator is brought on board, they will be trained in CPTED, and they'll be the ones performing those assessments. So Chris talked a lot about rural crime reporting and programs. So I'm going to discuss a couple of things here. I will always state, and one of the biggest things that I've talked to people about is that the RCMP are a statistical-based organization. They don't know about something unless it was reported to them. So they don't follow things that are happening on Facebook. They don't follow a lot of social media and that kind of thing. They only know if something happened if it's reported to them. So never, ever, ever feel out of place in terms of reporting a crime or what you think might be a crime. And some of the things I'll be discussing here or showing you are different ways that the RCMP has come up so that you can report crime without actually having to physically go down to the detachment or possibly so that you don't feel like you're a burden to the RCMP taking up their time by making a call or those kinds of things. So crime reporting, always, if it's an emergency, always, always, always call 911. The non-emergency line, or the old non-emergency line for the rural detachment was 830-5700. That number is still in play. However, as Chris said, a new rollout of the 310 RCMP number is actually designed to make it easier for people to have two numbers to remember rather than trying to, do I need to call the rural detachment? Do I need to call the Grande Prairie detachment? Do I need to call Beaver Lodge? Do I need to call, by calling 310 RCMP, you will get put to the right detachment and the right members. Online property crimes, again, most people don't know this, but you can actually report crime online. So those reports actually go to members that are in Edmonton. So they are RCMP members, constables, corporals, or those types of things, generally members that are on light duty, and they will actually respond back to your call. The most important part is that those online calls actually go back to the detachments, and they will actually show or report back to the detachments, again, giving the detachment commanders ideas of where crime is actually happening in their neighborhoods. So if a bike got stolen from your neighborhood and you report it, even if it was 2 weeks ago, by doing that, you're providing the RCMP with information to show patterns of where crime is happening in the communities. And then, as Chris said, Crime Stoppers. Again, if you want to remain anonymous, you want to report suspicious activity or those types of things, Crime Stoppers is another way of being able to report that information, and that information will get back to the RCMP. How many people know that the RCMP actually have an app? So first and foremost, that app does not track you on your phone by the RCMP at all. I always stress that. What it is it's more of an informational tool. Not only does it provide you with all of the updated RCMP news broadcasts, you can look at crime mapping in your area. You can look at Project Lockup, which is what I do, and that's the properties that I'll be going to, gold, silver, and bronze in your area, and the different types of assessments that I do. There's another program on there called RAVE, which is a community broadcast program that you can sign up. It's a self-registration system, and when you sign up for it, if a broadcast goes out in your area, you will receive it. They've been testing it in Whitecourt to a really good response from the community in terms of putting out bolos for stolen vehicles, different activities that are happening in different areas and those types of things. I highly recommend it to download it. It's a great source of information, and the information you're getting is right from the RCMP. Non-crime reporting, again, from a county perspective, you have this information here to report concerns about traffic safety, animal control, bylaws, and other non-crime related items. Rave I spoke about, but it's again, it's not in a test phase, but as detachments become more comfortable with it, they're starting to put it out to better use, and they're actually starting to try and find ways of refining it so that it's easier for the detachments to use and put that information out. Particularly for rural crime areas, I see a lot of good in that program. Rather than having to rely necessarily on different social media channels and the people that have access to those channels. Capture is another self-registration program that the RCMP run, and basically it is a community-assisted policing through the use of recorded evidence, is what Capture stands for. But basically what it is it's a self-registration program. If you have cameras on your property, you can register them in this area. So that information goes into a data bank, and by no means do you ever have to give the RCMP the recorded information. All it does is allows the RCMP to know where cameras are. So if an incident happens in a particular area, rather than them having to canvass every house, and you can imagine in a rural area, that would be a lot of time spent driving around from property to property to find out if anybody has a camera. This will actually allow the members to go to that database, know who has a camera, so that it's easier for them to report or to approach those properties. That is all that is. If your cameras aren't working, you don't want to give up that surveillance or those types of things, you're under no obligation. It's just something that helps or assists the members in terms of their investigational avenues. SCAN is a sheriff's program, so Safer Communities and Neighborhoods. Again, how to report suspicious property through their website, as well as they have a 1-800 number as well, or 1-866 number. And then, as you can see, Operation Cold Start, it's a little warm out there for Cold Start, but what this does is it kind of brings into the concept of auto theft, which is rampant in our district. For the most part, a lot of people believe that vehicles have a tendency to get stolen because they're being sold, they're being shipped off to Dubai. Nobody wants your F-150 in Dubai. They really don't. My experience in talking to a lot of members, auto theft is one of two reasons. Somebody's stealing your vehicle because they want to go and perform property crime, or they're stealing your vehicle for transportation. And what I always tell people, particularly in rural areas, because there has a tendency to be my vehicle in the middle of a field, nobody's going to want to come and get it, those kinds of things. So they have a tendency to be left open, they have a tendency to be keys left in them, those types of things. Just do what you can to reduce the opportunity for somebody to take your vehicle. Lock it, don't leave it running with the keys in it, don't leave valuables in your vehicle. I talk about simple things like Yeti mugs that run about $100 a piece. Show the criminal that there might be other valuables within the vehicle. And they might steal your Yeti mug, and then you don't have warm coffee in the morning, I guess, from that perspective. So, but a lot of what I talk about with regards to crime prevention is always looking at reducing the opportunity for individuals to steal something. Lock your doors, know what your neighbors, keep in contact with your neighbors, those types of things. But everything you can do to reduce opportunity will assist in terms of not becoming a victim of crime. Any questions?
I heard that if you lock your vehicle with your remote control, then somebody can come in with a computer and unlock it. Is that true, or is that just a myth?
Well, I will tell you that it is not a myth. However, I have not seen any real instances of that happening up here in Grande Prairie. Okay, I just go from that. I'm not an expert in terms of those types of things. But at the same time, there are different things that you can do to your key fob. There's different types of protections that you can put around your key fobs that will actually block somebody from getting the code or the scanners. Because everything runs off of radio waves, there are different ways of being able to scan and get into people's vehicles or those types of things, depending on the type of vehicle you have and what kind of systems that you have in it. So, yes, it is not a myth. Any other questions? So I'll be over at the table there as well if anybody does have any other questions. I've got a number of pamphlets over there as well as some license plate screws that you can use to help prevent or make it harder for people to steal your license plates off your vehicles and those kinds of things. So like I said, I'd be happy to talk to anybody after the presentation is finished.
Okay, and that wraps it up. So thank you everyone for coming out.